Well, as we get in the match here, Matt Sperling came up to me at one of the Grand Prix with the dual decks. He's like, "Hey, do you want to play me in Shanra versus Jace, or as I like to call it, Fire Breathing versus Repel?"
Yeah.
And I did. Yeah.
I'm sure you were successful. As we see Dominic Casali on the right playing Esper Stone played against Tony Chu on the left playing Jund. Tony Chu, a player that has had some success on the Open Series. And Dominic, a new face here, but it looks like he's doing okay in the game that we're watching.
Yeah, Elspeth is, all the 4-mana Planeswalkers has sort of gotten a new context because of Bug. Because Planeswalkers are pretty good against Bug, and 4 mana is an important flashpoint because of Abrupt Decay and to a lesser extent Inquisition of Kozilek. I remember Caleb Durward came up to me at GP Denver, I believe, and asked me, what do I think the best card is in Legacy that no one's playing? And I didn't really think about it too long. I don't really know. He said he thought it was Koth, because Koth's just 4 mana and potentially very good against Bug. Elspeth, kind of similar in that space. A little less aggressive, of course, but
Caleb always just outside the box.
I like
what you like about him.
I like a Koth, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to play a deck where it can get into play unless you're willing to play some like Ancient Tomb, City of Trader type deal, and then your deck's just inconsistent because you're up to that kind of stuff.
But as we do walk into this game 3 here, players have about 13 minutes left to play, it looks like. Tony on the left with the Jund deck. He has a Deathrite Shaman in play, a couple cards in his hand. He's going to see you're going to remove a sorcery there for the black ability. He's going to untap, he's going to draw, and he's got to figure out the best way to beat that Elspeth. And what looks like Jete is actually in play as well to go along with that token. So you're going to see here a Dark Confidant. He's going to play a Badlands and pass a turn back.
Yep.
So no real great answer to Elspeth yet. But with Punishing Fire in his hand, he's not doing terrible.
Yeah, I mean, of course he needs to find a Grove here, or he can actually maybe combo. No, he has to find Grove.
Yeah.
So a lot of this hinges on whether or not that Confidant can survive long enough to either find a Grove, ideally, or just find enough stuff to keep that Jit from going on a guy. But it looks like Dominic has a Path to Exile in his hand, so I assume that's going to be taking care of the Confidant, and then Elspeth plus Jit has a way of wrapping up things pretty quickly.
So you're going to see Umezawa's Jit go on to the token here. We'll see if he's going to jump the Elspeth, and he is going to jump, and there's a Punishing Fire.
Side fence judge to the stage, please.
And now you're going to see Path to Exile. And I don't particularly like the jump play there. I don't really think there's much of a reason. I'm perfectly fine and content running my token into your Deathrite Shaman and getting my 2 counters. And then those 2 counters will take care of the rest of the Deathrite Shaman and the Dark Confidant.
Yeah, because now you're on a 2-turn delay here of being able to reactivate the Elspeth. So now all of a sudden something like Bloodbraid could become a disastrous draw.
And you also, one thing that you can look at there too is the tapping of Wasteland instead of the tapping of the island. Yes, you can represent some things with the island, being available, but maybe you want to leave that Wasteland untapped in case Tony does draw a Grove of the Burn Willows, so you can nuke that right away. He does have no cards left in his hand.
Yeah, you're not really representing Spell Pierce because you probably would have pierced that.
And that's a good draw.
Right, that's Maelstrom. That's a big draw, and that's of course the risk of jumping right there.
Yep.
He would have another token in play had he just made a token.
So now Maelstrom Pulse takes care of the Elspeth. Deathrite Shaman's going to start to go to work on the instants and sorceries, and going to provide its own unique little clock, Grim Lavamancer style. Has to turn back. You see a counterspell, you see a Spell Pierce, you see a Force of Will.
Yep.
So as far as spells are concerned in this game for Tony, the next couple aren't going to be resolving, but again, that's okay. As you do see a Grove of the Burn Willows here.
He's drawn Swords to Plowshares. That's a significant draw. Although we are in the place of, Dominic might be able to. Tony might be able to win manual style by just getting the Grove back.
Yep.
It's a slow process.
And so now both the Punishing Fires are going to come back. Dominic's going to have to consider using that Wasteland right now while that Grove is tapped. So you're going to see Punishing Fire here. Is Tony going to cast the other Punishing Fire? That's the question. But I think if you're Dominic, I mean, he does have a couple decisions here with the swords, but I think the most important one is that you have to Wasteland that Grove. It has to happen. Punishing Fire you.
That's probably going to draw a Spell Pierce, I would assume.
Counter spell.
All right, so we're going to Deathrite Shaman.
Remove your counter spell. Deathrite Shaman's dead. Wasteland that Grove. Wasteland that Grove. Force of Will and Spell Pierce, the cards left. Both players getting the life total sorted out as far as punishing fire damage and all that good stuff. He passes the turn back, and Tony cannot untap fast enough.
So this is just going to finish it, I think.
Yeah, so he draws a Deathrite Shaman. See, he doesn't have to move now, because now the Wasteland was only going to be relevant when the Grove was tapped, but now that the Grove is untapped, if it gets Wastelanded now, you just activate it for the red. Dominic gains a life. The 2 Punishing Fire triggers go on the stack. They're both going to come back. So now you're going to see a Force of Will there on the Deathrite Shaman.
This is just lethal now.
Yep. And I'm going to bring my Groves back. I'm going to kill you. And that's it. Tony Chu with his Jund deck 2-1 over Dominic Casali and his Esper Stoneblade deck. That 1 Maelstrom Pulse in his main deck, pretty good.
Was awesome there.
Pretty good.
And who knows? Yeah, the